One quiet evening in a small Texas town, a legend walked into a diner. Yeah, you guessed it, Chuck Norris. He was just looking for a simple cup of coffee. But little did he know, the air inside was thick with tension. At opposite ends of the room sat two infamous gang leaders, locked in a deadly glare. The waitress, barely able to steady her hands, handed Chuck his coffee and whispered, "It's about to get ugly." Chuck nodded, took a sip, and then stood up. Without a word, he walked to the center of the room. The gang leaders, eyes wide, watched as Chuck pulled out a toothpick, placed it in his mouth, and stared them down. "Listen," he said, his voice calm but commanding. "If you two want to fight, you'll have to go through me first." The gang leaders exchanged nervous glances. They'd heard the stories. Chuck Norris once roundhouse kicked a tornado into submission. He arm wrestled a grizzly bear into hibernation, and he stared down the sun until it set. Suddenly, both men stood up, tipped their hats, and left the diner without another word. The other patrons erupted into applause. Chuck sat back down, finished his coffee, and left a generous tip. The waitress picked it up, smiling nervously, and whispered to herself, "That's Chuck Norris. He doesn't start fights. He ends them." So next time you find yourself in a sticky situation, just remember, somewhere out there, Chuck Norris is probably sipping his coffee, ready to end the fight before it even begins. Thanks for